Hello, Digidestins. This is Kyle D, better known as Ridemyavatar, and today I'm going to be talking about the North America possible meta we're going to see. I think that with the late delay of the trial decks that we won't see probably till like Christmas time that I'm hearing rumors about, we're hearing like December 22nd, right before Christmas. Stuff like that. We're going to see a shift in meta because BT-6 drops before the trial decks, and that's going to be a very important because BT-6 is just a very interesting skeleton. It relies, a lot of decks rely on that great and powerful of the memory booster cards, and only 3 decks will have access to it. Well, 3 colors basically. And that's going to cause a lot of meta shift, a lot of diversity now. Again, I'm not going to say this as a terrible thing, but we're going to see, I know Beelzestar is going to walk it. Maybe Jessamon will still stay top tier, but it lost like 2 cards that they might not need to play. But that memory booster was such a crucial card for Jessamon, it hurts it. And then Ancient Bonds of Friendship got hit hard by at least 2 cards. The memory booster is gone, and that was required for it to search its pieces consistently. If it loses its pieces, it's just too much for it. Then you also had security control in the meta where it had Geogreymon, Cordramon, and it also lost the Atomic Blaster, which is major cards that were part of its deck. Even Bonds of Courage lost 2 cards. That Geogreymon is such a clutch card because it helps control the game. And it also lost another combo piece that in the Atomic Blaster. So it's losing pieces, and they're also losing their benefits of Red also lost that Agumon. So without the Agumon with the extra 2000 DP, the deck does lose a little more power behind it because that is just super important card. So guys, let's go over my predictions. Sorry for the long intro-ish stuff, but I just wanted to explain that decks could definitely see major play, and let's dive right into what decks I think might shine a little bit brighter in this format for BT-6 North America. So with my prediction that we're going to see a rise in Beelzestar control, we're going to see a rise in Rookie Rush, and then we're going to see a rise in any Jessamon deck is kind of be the go-to, I think, of this format, while other decks kind of got hit hard with the memory loss. These decks could possibly shine a little bit brighter in the format. I feel like there are a lot of great value in this. We're going to talk about Shoutmon first. Shoutmon gained 1 little card right here that lets it draw in more cards, being if this Digimon has Blitz, trigger draw 1. So it only needs to have Blitz as a target to gain advantage. So if we blitz with this level 5 that it just gets in the format, it'll trigger a draw, plussing us a little bit better, because that was one of our nearly downfalls of this deck, was that we struggled to have an early swing, presence, and now we have it. Yes, we did lose the Agumon from the trial deck, but at least 1000 DP is not bad. But we also have Shoutmon to give us the extra 2000 DP that can help this get bigger. This thing can be at least swinging for 10k, and that can help it survive in a swing with a Greymon underneath. Boom. I think Zeborga Eggermon is underrated at the moment. If you're going to play the style like this, and you're relying on Mega Digimon Fusion, that now gives you 8 targets where your Omnimon will have an extra 2 security checks. And if you're playing it in the style where it's build, and then go in for the kill with dedicated plan, swing in like a bunch of times, you can just keep a giant stack in the back and then go into Omnimon with the Mega Digimon Fusion when you're facing against a security control deck or anything else that might just seem like it's taking slower. This format is not as fast as you think, but with Blitz and stuff like that, you can just go your own pace and just go how you want. You can go ham, you can go all in face, all you can do. So this deck can definitely deal some major damage. One dedicated plan and 2 swings with Omnimon could clear out 6 security in quite easy fashion. So don't sleep on this. And if you get Madam Tie out, that's a lot more security that they're going to have to deal with, and that's game finisher. You just need 2 megas for him to restand 3 times. 1 dedicated plan, boom, done. Nail and coffin. They don't have anything else they can do. So don't sleep on Shoutmon. I feel like Shoutmon's going to have a little more advantage because it's gaining some small advantage, and it doesn't rely heavily on the trial deck to survive. And that's like majorly what most of these decks want, is to survive on the trial deck. I think Hexablau Azulamon might bring more to the meta now, seeing as most of the other decks require the memory boosters to go. So Azulamon can get rid of memory evolutionary sources and control board state, because you have Hexablau here that just says, I'm going to make it so you can't swing. And it does have a very useful, that it only cares about 1 memory booster, and that's the Howling memory booster. It really just relies heavily on this card. I'm not joking. This trashing this two Digi-Evolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, that's huge. Then one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution can't attack or block until the opponent's next end turn. That's way bigger than anything else that we can do. This deck so relies heavily on this Howling. It's not even funny, because gaining that 2 memory afterwards is never bad. So, but with, Gomamon, the Blaukukomon, so sorry if I mispronounced this, his evolutionary line just stumps me so much. Being able to gain memory off of this is just huge. And then we also have Kairomon, so that lets us draw. So it doesn't need the memory booster, because it's going to constantly draw cards, because you're just trashing evolutionary sources left and right, and they're just down cards. And even then, you have Sora Joe that when swings instantly trashes stuff. So plus, you're just constantly plussing, and preventing them from attacking is huge in this game. Hammer Spark's just still a nasty card. And then, you got your Davis for your searcher, and you don't have to dig too deep, because, your baby is literally doing all the work. It's just gaining you pluses because, Paildramon is trashing 2 sources that triggers the draw. It just triggers so much advantage, and there's so many good cards that you could play. The Kakumon that allows you to say, nah, if you have no evolutionary sources, you can just swing in with the Azulamon very easily. They can't block it, so that's huge. That gets huge. And this thing being able to, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon. So the whole board, if you've been able to control the whole board and remove sources the whole time, you can get a restand on Azulamon and just swing twice, or twice with Hexablau. It just gets nasty real quick. And I feel like this deck can pretty much shine a lot brighter with the decks that decks slowed down a bit, and it's got its outs. Next, Lord Nightmon. I feel like Lord Nightmon's gonna just still be oppressive. It's just not going anywhere, boys and girls. It didn't care about the memory boosters. It gained 1 new removal spell, and that's Wyvern's Breath. It's a guaranteed kill something, and that's huge. I feel like Nightmon still is going to be able to control majority of what you want, but Lord Nightmon into a War Greymon after a Nightmon evolve, you're just doing so much damage so quickly. And especially since a lot of cards are doing a lot of different stuff this time around in this format, I feel like Yellow Lord Nightmon is just still great and powerful. Being able to spam out boards, you get the Bushy Agu plays, Starmon just removes everything. So double Lord Nightmon with an Angelwomon into a double Bushy, that could game finish very easily. Blinding Ray is still a great card for this deck. It still does what it does. I feel like out of everything in this format, Lord Nightmon got pushed down heavily because every deck just sped up, and they could do Lord Nightmon's memory choking without having to worry about it as much because they had the memory booster to get out of it. So if you didn't see your tamer, at least a memory booster could get you to your boss Digimon very easily, and then you're just all set because you didn't have to worry too much about it. Now Lord Nightmon doesn't have to worry about every deck like Bonds of Bravery, Bonds of Courage, Bonds of Friendship, Bonds of Bravery. You know, all those decks got a major hit. They don't have the security Digimon that pops in, that just pops their blockers right off the bat. You know, there's a lot of punishment now that got removed from this game, but also Black still got a really good card pool. It didn't get hit as much, but it's just solid as can be. And then they also do have TK Kyrie. So if you have fewer security than your opponent, which you'll just sit at 3 until you build a wide enough board and just go at them. And when one of your Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 1000 DP. It's still a control deck in the meta. It's just ridiculous. I feel like this deck is not going anywhere, and it just got better with the limitations that got hit by every other deck. Star and Security Control still could probably keep this deck at bay, but don't be surprised if Lord Nightmon just stays. Next, I feel like Eosmon might have a shot here, and that's because if it's in the right meta, it can slow down a lot of resting tamers, stuff like that. You don't have as many problems because you're now slowing down the game to where you want it. But it's going to be a very interesting climb because Eosmon gains security attack for each of your opponent's tamers you have in play. For each you and your opponent has, place one level 5 or lower Eosmon from trash at the top of this Digimon's evolutionary card in any order. If you put 2 or more were placed by this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. So guaranteed, if you and your opponent have one, it blows up one of their big guys just so easily, and no cause or rhyme, just delete it so easily. And for every 3 cards in this Digimon has, gain a security +1, really good. Then look at this Eosmon here, just gets ridiculously big really quick because this Eosmon just spams out. So when attacking, you may play a level 5 Eosmon from your hand without paying its memory cost. It just creates wide board situations that just makes it really hard for your opponent. Then you have this Eosmon. So on play, you may play one white level 4 card tamer with 4 costs tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. Then your opponent may play a tamer from their hand without paying its memory cost. You might always just hit it and you don't have to worry about anything, just so that, you know, that it just doesn't matter. They don't have to worry about you. You could always get the plus and they don't. So especially since unless you're facing a Bonds deck, most decks don't play enough tamers to justify the use. So when attacking, also has, you may play one level 4 less tamer from your hand without paying its cost. Really nice just to be able to keep playing, you know, your Manoka. You have Tai and Matt. You could even play a Taikumi just so that if we get multiple of those out, Rookie Rush kind of slows down, and then you arrest them just every time you Digivolve up, and that could be a lot of advantage just to get more of these Eosmons in your hand. So it just keeps them at bay. These are big beefy Digimon in the sense, even though they're 6000 DP, if you can just keep cycling them in, they're nasty. Then you have Cutting Edge. You may play one level 5 Eosmon from your hand without paying its memory cost, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to the Digimon played by this effect. So if you play this, you can pop most rookies out, and then you get a plus out of this, but that's a huge 6 cost. Usually you want to just play this Eosmon, but hey, anything can go. Also, you know, just splash in a little bit of red can give you a nice removal that you might need. I feel like having Peanut in here, so if you can just keep up when it attacks your opponent's Digimon, it's just there just to Digivolve so that your rookies can just get you some advantage in cards. We're going to play the Palmons just because any of these searchers are really nice, because if they look at the tops, you can get a 4 or 5 out of the Wormon's Death. Morphomon's Death gets you top 5 search add, you know, the Tamer and one Digimon with the Eosamon in its name. And then you have Palmon, who's revealed 3 cards from add 1 level 4 Digimon, which you're going to be trying to dig for your Woodmon or Eosamon. That's how it's going to play out. I feel like this deck has a decent shot of coming out of nowhere in this format, because all the other decks got hit in a way that is really interesting, to be honest with you. Most decks really require those memory tamers, memory boosters. This format, they really rely on consistency boost they get from that, because it's always a +2 memory gain and a draw. So this deck can definitely shine a little bit better. Then purple Titanmon, definitely, let's be honest, boys and girls, I don't see any issue with this deck. This deck just still has everything, and it still has a gray memory booster right here. So I'm not even joking that this deck filters, it goes at it. It doesn't care as much about the memory booster because it's just constantly filtering. It's got Skull Greymons giving retaliation to almost all your blockers or anything else in that matter that they might want to swing into. Doesn't matter. They get to also, your deck just plays a way of getting stuff back. So, but with this card, return 1 purple Digimon from your trash to your hand, then put this card into your battle area. It's just really good. Just a small memory booster, but it helps filter and bring back cards that you lost, and that's huge. This Titanmon lets you bring back this Genkumon Promote from the graveyard, which is huge. Massamon does the same thing. So being able to use Genkumon Promote, being able to swing in with Rush, could give game finishers faster than any other deck, because they can't play catch up against a deck that just filters out their whole hand and then just plays obnoxious ultimates that just do something really nasty. Look at Rebellion in itself. It's a blocker, and then it's got retaliation it gives if you just trash 1 card, and most of your trashing cards give you advantage. What deck doesn't like to just plus for days? So I feel like this deck is going to be huge going forwards. Definitely see this deck coming. And then finally, black. I feel like with Jessamon slowing down a bit, I feel like this deck could definitely see massive play. It's Black Royal Knights, but it splashes Jessamon in there to have the Sistermon combos played in there, so that Sistermons give added blockers, which means Craniumon gives them protection. This card gains 1 memory. It comes in for 3, which is huge. And then you have Iron Fist Onslaught that deletes all your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP play cost. Okay, so Ricky Rush boards, buy. Any deck that just wants to come at this deck, just buy. Your high play is gone. This card just showing up in security makes a bad day for anybody. And we have Jessamon here being Jessamon. We have Alphamons. We have Karenimons. Just really great cards. And then especially with, if you can splash in this tie, if your opponent has a rest, if your Digimon is rested by using block, you may rest this card. One of your Digimon becomes active. You can get multiple blocks off with Karenimon very easily, or you can have Sistermons just do it. But this deck has so much potential, it's not even funny. And then while this Digimon has blocker, it gains 1000 DP. Then you have the Karamon that does the same thing. We're just trying to get above Jessamon swings. If we can get above a Jessamon swing, your opponent just can't do anything. They're just ridiculously behind. So that's like huge. Then if you can get the Gigadramon underneath it, this Digimon gains 2000 DP. That can get you out of so many problems just because Craniumon exists and it just builds big blocker. And for your Jessamon play, you get Megadramon just to help you get that big swing in. So I feel like don't sleep on this deck. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for this deck to go off, and I feel like this might be the solid black deck that goes higher than most because it doesn't rely on the memory booster at all, which I believe all decks don't have to, but you're going to need it at the end of the day. So guys, let's do this properly. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video and it wasn't terrible of what I was explaining. I feel like there's a lot of great cards decks in this format that going forward is going to be great, but with the nerf in North America without the trial decks for half the month, that's going to create a really interesting meta change that most decks just never really had for a second. So guys, remember, like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.